What's going on, hikers? In today's video, gear. We are talking about gear. I love it, you love it, let's talk about it. I'm actually going to show you, and I have a lot to say about gear. You don't have to stick with the same brands that I've picked, but I want to inform you of things that I wish I would have purchased whenever I first started backpacking. That could be I bought something else, and then later on down the road, I replaced it with these specific pieces of gear. Or it could have been I just done without it. Like, this isn't in the list, but a chair for a long time. I done without a chair. And then sitting in the miserable rain on a cold, wintry day with the Shield Brothers and Mr. Backpacking with Jason, sir. I was like, no longer going without a chair. If you're new to the channel, my name is Jeremiah Stringer, and here we talk about all things hiking and backpacking. So if you're into that kind of thing, consider subscribing to the channel. That's exactly what we talk about. Oh, don't adjust your screens. I know. If you're not new to the channel, I shaved my beard. It's been about 3 weeks. It's growing back out. Be patient. Okay, let's start with number 1 on our list. I want to talk to you about filters. So whenever I first started backpacking, I bought a Sawyer Mini. It worked okay until I discovered the Sawyer Squeeze, which is the full version of that same filter. Now this is what I wish I would have purchased whenever I first started backpacking, because dealing with the Mini and the flow rate just wasn't for me, even though it is a little lighter. And this will be a common theme you see throughout this whole video. Sometimes we're sacrificing money, sometimes we're sacrificing weight. It just depends on the item. I also tried out this Sawyer Micro, and I don't really suggest this one. Some people, it hasn't given them issues, but for me, this thing, the flow rate completely shut off on me. I basically had to start using other people's filters whenever I was backpacking on the long trail. I was out there for a month. And a month on trail is a big deal. It's a big difference between just a weekend. Okay, let's go to number 2 on the list. What else should I have purchased when I first started backpacking? Yeah, like I said, a lot of things to show you. One thing that I just done without when I first started backpacking is a warm puffy. I didn't bring a puffy at all on my very first trip. And then the trips after that, I mean, my first trip was like in May. And then later on that year, I didn't get a puffy until probably, I went the whole summer and then into the fall. I got a Ghost Whisperer, and if you don't know much about it, it's like an 8-ounce puffy. It's not super warm in my opinion, and it's not great for winter, but you know, pretty fair weather. It'll keep you warm. And then I bought something that is a little heavier. It's super loud. You can hear it. That's one of the downsides. This is just a North Face puffy, and I paid a couple $100 for it whenever I was at an outfitter in Tennessee. So one thing I wish I had bought when I first started is a warm puffy, and I'll tell you why. Even on the warmest of days, sometimes you wake up and you're a little cold. So you can just get up, do some jumping jacks, whatever, but puffy, fantastic. And one thing I like to do is in my sleeping bag, I will get in there, right? And then if I don't feel like it's going to keep me warm enough, or if I have a little bit of chill whenever I'm going to bed, I'll zip up my puffy and then I'll put my legs in it and pull the puffy up toward my waist. And then it's a nice little like cozy extra layer for me while I'm laying there in my tent. Number 3 on our list today is the stove that I purchased. I want to show you the very first stove I took backpacking. It is definitely a learning experience, folks. And I know, especially when you first start out, you're on a budget. So what I did was go to a local sporting goods store, and I bought this heavy stove. I mean, this thing weighs basically the same as 3 stoves. It is so heavy. But what was great about it is it was stable. My pot would never slip off of this, even on an incline. And then I changed to what's called a BRS stove. BRS, it's a lot more flimsy, and I have dropped water slid off in my cook pot multiple times using this thing, probably 3 or 4 times, and once into somebody's lap whenever it was boiling hot. So got to be careful, and also make sure if you're going to use something like the BRS, you want to make sure it's on level ground. Now, let me show you what I should have bought when I first started. It is a heavier stove. This is a MSR Pocket Rocket Deluxe. It's got a big old burner on it, and it's very, very stable. That's my favorite thing about it. I wish I had bought something like this, or maybe a pocket rocket, even though it may be a little bit heavier than this BRS, because this thing weighs like 27 grams. This thing's substantially heavier, and I'll link a video above if you want to check it out more, but it's been my favorite stove thus far. So just to recap, I should have bought a more stable stove. Probably stuck with it, but hey, we all like experimenting with gear. You live and you learn. Number 4, I have actually sold my very first one. Actually sold it to somebody that only backpacks pretty much in fair weather, like summertime-ish. It is a good quality sleeping pad. Now, I first started out, I hammock now too, but I spend some time in a tent. I first started out in a tent. What do you need in a tent? You need a sleeping pad to sleep on. And I just went on Amazon and I was like, 50 bucks? Psh, yeah. I'll definitely spend 50 bucks on a sleeping pad. No big deal, because what I was checking out is things like this, the Neo Air X-Lite, and this, the Nemo Tensor. And this is actually the Alpine version, and I got it specifically for wintertime. I wish I had bought a good quality sleeping pad. I went through a cheap one from Amazon that was basically a knockoff of the X-Lite, Neo Air X-Lite, and the R value was pretty much nothing. It was just an inflatable pad like you'd buy at Walmart. So offers no R value, and if you don't know what that is, to keep it simple, it's just a measurement of how good it's going to be in certain temperatures. For instance, like the higher the R value, the warmer it's going to keep you. So we'll keep from going in depth there, but I should have just got a higher R value and spent the money. That 50 bucks come back to bite me. I got me one and I got my wife Bridget one, and we found out real quick that it wasn't super comfortable and it wasn't super warm. So if we were backpacking anything below, I don't know, 60, 70 degrees at night, it was a little chilly. And you don't think about this, but the ground just kind of sucks the heat right out of your body. So I don't care how warm your sleeping bag or your top quilt is that you're pairing with your sleeping pad, you're going to get cold if it's a cold night and you don't have a good sleeping pad. And that actually brings me to today's video sponsor. I would like to thank backcountry.com for sponsoring the video. I actually ordered this and a number of other things. Some I'm going to be showing you today from backcountry.com. Best part, I don't know when you're watching this, but right now COVID's a thing, and I didn't even have to leave my house to buy this sleeping pad. Every time I've ordered stuff from Backcountry, it's came in super quick. I don't have to leave my house to shop at all. And while I was shopping on there, I was like, I don't know if I want this sleeping pad for winter or another one. So I went down and talked to one of the gear experts. Their gearheads are experts in the field, and they knew exactly what they were talking about. Now, I've been backpacking for a few years now, and I could tell the person I was talking to, it was like having a conversation with somebody who actually knew about the gear I'm talking about. And we sat and we talked through it, and I decided on the Alpine. So I'm going to link below everything that I can find a link to that I'm talking about in today's video. And I would love for you to check out backcountry.com. It's a one-stop shop for all kinds of your backcountry needs, backpacking, camping, all kinds of things in the backcountry. So thanks again, Backcountry, for sponsoring today's video. Now, I'm not real good with numbers, but I think this is number 5. I found a headlamp, and I think it was, I don't know, $6 or $8. And I was like, yeah, I need a headlamp. Well, come to find out, I prefer a rechargeable headlamp. And this is not a rechargeable headlamp. I bought it on Amazon, super cheap. I think I found it in some other people's videos. It's a good budget one, but it completely stopped working on me, like completely crapped out. And I was like, how can I lose a little bit of weight using a headlamp? So I went with this thing. This is the Nightcore Nu25, super, super light. You can even mod it out to make it a little lighter. And I recently purchased a new headlamp. Hold on, I'll grab it and show it to you. Got it. You're talking about light? Man, this Mac Daddy right here is super, super light. This is the Petzl Bendy, and I'm actually taking it out on its trial run this week, tomorrow. Shh, don't tell anybody. Taking it out in the backcountry, headed out. It is so, so light. I would definitely, if you haven't bought a headlamp, or if you want to just cut a little bit of your base weight, This is a good way to do it, not lugging around extra batteries, even though, yeah, it could die, but I'll talk to you about that here in just a minute. But Petzl Bendy, let's see how she does. Have you used it? Comment down below. Tell me your thoughts. Numero 6. Number 6 on our list today is about your feet. And whenever you're backpacking, your feet are everything. So the lighter your base weight is, or just how much weight you're carrying on your back, and the better your feet are, that's a good combination. So what I did to up my game in my footwear is, yeah, I bought good quality shoes right off the bat. Right? I did a lot of research. I bought some shoes, tried them on, decided if they were going to work with me, and then I actually upgraded them even more. And you're like, how do you do that? Well, it's the same shoes, but I bought some inserts that were not the factory inserts. Now, me personally, I deal with plantar fasciitis, which is where a tendon in your foot gets really tight, and it can cause you a lot of issues, especially a lot of foot pain, spurs on your feet, that kind of thing. So some extra support really helped me out. And I'll link below my buddy that I do the backpacking podcast with. His name is John Kelly, and he has his own backpacking YouTube channel. He is partnered with a company called Tread Labs, and I haven't tried their stuff, but I trust him, and he has talked a lot about them and how great their products are. So if that's a company you want to try out, for sure check out his videos on his channel. What I've been using since I've started backpacking, and I use it every day at work, is these inserts called Pinnacle Power Steps. I'm still on the search for the perfect insert, so whatever you use, if it's not factory and it adds some support, I think that's always better than just using that little flappy piece of foam that they stick in their shoes. But just one man's opinion, right? Maybe it doesn't work for you. We're all different. Number 7. What else do I wish that I would have bought as a beginner? I know exactly what. I wish I wouldn't have bought these cheap Walmart dry bags that I was using as a food bag. Now, they're super cheap, and you can just go to your local Walmart and pick them up, but I took them home and weighed them. Those things are freaking astronomical in weight. I was like, my food's already in these Ziploc bags. I just need something to hang it in whenever I'm doing my bear hanging at night. Bear hanging? We're not hanging bears. I'm hanging my food away from the bears, right? You get what I'm saying. Well, here's what I went with. I decided to leave the Walmart ones at home and got an Osprey Food Bag. And I was like, the mouth on this thing is not wide enough. Maybe I can use it for electronics or something. And then I went with a Light AF one. It was super cool. And then my buddy from Hilltop Packs, Ben McMillan, if you want to check out his website, he can customize food bags for you. This one has my entire Instagram feed, and it has my logo. That's at hilltoppacks.com. And you can pretty much upload whatever you want. And I've been using his food bags ever since. So highly, highly recommend. I wish I had gotten a big food bag for multiple days that had a big wide mouth opening on it whenever I first started backpacking, instead of wasting my money for those cheap ones at Walmart that were way too heavy for me to carry. Number 8 in today's video. I still have some foot stuff going on here. You're like, what? You're sick. No. I'm talking about what kind of socks that you wear. So these are darn tough. Love them because they have a lifetime warranty, except not these. I bought them at TJ Maxx, so they're actually, they have no warranty. They're irregular ones. But the special thing about them is they are merino wool. And the cool thing about merino wool is it doesn't lose all of its insulation value like cotton does whenever you get it wet. Now, when I first started backpacking, and I actually have on a pair right now, is some of those cotton Nike performance socks. Now, I don't know what the performance is. They don't make me jump any higher or anything like that, but I took a number of those on my first backpacking trip. And I was like, it'll get me out on the trail, which is true, but what I should have done is invested in some better socks like these darn tough merino wool or these smart wool socks. And the wool doesn't just stop there. This is another thing I got from backcountry.com, and I wish I'd bought a long time ago. Now, they're expensive, I'm not going to lie, but a good base layer. This is Smart Wool's 150 weight shirt, and unless I'm mistaken, that means it weighs 150 grams. So this is like their lighter version merino wool base layer. And let me reiterate, please don't take cotton in the backcountry unless you're just going to wear it around camp or something like that. But if I'm backpacking, I'm either taking like a synthetic shirt or something like this, a merino wool base layer, because again, you know, a lot of people get hypothermia in the summertime because you get wet, you don't think you need a jacket, and then you're out there in the elements, and then guess what? Your core body temperature starts dropping. So please, if there's anything you take away from this video, stay safe out there, wear the right gear in order to protect yourself. Gear is everything in the backcountry, that and your wits. Number 9 on our list, let's talk a little bit about electronics. Whenever I first started backpacking, I used the lipstick size. No, I wasn't using lipstick. I was using lipstick size battery packs. And they're like, I don't know, 3,500 milliamp hours. That's not enough to charge my iPhone one time. So I would have to take multiple. And then I was like, well, screw this. I'm going to upgrade to something bigger. Now, keep in mind, I do YouTube, so if I'm going to film in the backcountry, it's going to take a lot more power. Plus, I like a rechargeable headlamp, as previously mentioned. So I bought this big, bad RAV Power 20,000 milliamp hour battery pack. And this thing has never died on me when I'm in the backcountry. Now, I think I overdone it a little bit, and if it were me, going back, I would probably get a 10,000 milliamp hour charger. Now that's going to last me probably for a couple days. It'll charge my phone, I don't know, 3.5, 4 times. If you have, like, for instance, I have an iPhone 11 Plus, I believe it is. And this would be great if it's 2 people using the same battery pack, or if you're doing something like I do and have to recharge camera batteries or something like that in the backcountry. But I have it on my Christmas list. And hopefully my wife bought me a smaller battery pack, because I just went and weighed this thing right before our video. Can you guess how much it weighs? Nope, that's not right. It weighs 15 ounces. Too heavy, too heavy. I got to go down in size. Sticking with electronics, and we're not done here, but this is number 10 on our list. These have become a lot cheaper. And you don't have to go with this brand. Like I said before in this video, you don't have to go with any of these brands. What this is, it's just a little wireless headphone. This is Apple AirPods. I don't know how much they are. You can probably get them on sale right now since it's around Christmas time if you're watching this right after I put it out. But I had no idea how annoying it was, especially with my trekking poles. If you're somebody who uses trekking poles, sometimes I would catch the cord, not the string, the cord that comes from my headphones in my trekking pole, and I'd just rip that sucker right out of my ear, and it would make me so mad. And then, you know, you're annoyed, you're sticking it back in there, and you may do that multiple times. Saving grace right here. Now, the only issue that I run into with these wireless headphones is if I'm like laying in my hammock at night, and, you know, I got my phone on my hang time hook, and I'm laying there watching a movie or listening to a podcast, and I fall asleep, I'll either wake up with one of the AirPods like stuck in my side, or I won't be able to find it until morning time. So that's something to keep in mind if you're going to consider using wireless headphones in the backcountry. But in my opinion, a lot less hassle. Do have to charge them though, so that is a downside. Number 11 on our list. How about this? Crinkle, 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 crinkle. These can be yours for a low, low price. No, I'm not going to sell you mine. This is an upgrade. When I first started backpacking, I used the basic frog togs. And I do understand if you're on a budget, that may be the best option for you. But hear me out on this. $20, yes, you can buy the basic frog togs, and you'll look like a giant beige colored Yeti or something, right? Unless you get the blueberry ones. For $10 more, I bought the frog togs. Mr. Backpacking with Jason Sir makes fun of me all the time because they say something on them about being too poor, but these are supposed to be like the X-Lite version. They're a lot tougher, and Miyagi on the Trail, I actually ripped these not too long ago, and you can put like Dyneema tape, even though, yeah, that's really expensive. But I would highly suggest try spending $10 more and getting at least slightly tougher frog tog or different rain jacket. again, if you're on a budget and that's all you can afford, whatever's going to get you out in the backcountry as long as you're safe. But this is a hard deal to pass up on, and these have lasted and lasted and lasted me. I even took them on my thru hike of the Long Trail, and I'm still wearing the same jacket, and that was like, I don't know, a year or two ago, and I'll take this thing every time I go into the backcountry. Man, I am feeling long-winded today. Maybe we can edit this sucker down. I don't know. I doubt it. Check out the links in the description below. Thanks again, Backcountry, for sponsoring today's video. If you've enjoyed it, give me one of these. Helps out the channel. Subscribe and kick the notification bell for the latest notifications. We'll see you in the next video. Yep, I know. The sleeping bags and the underquilts in the background. They're hung vertical and all the down's gonna fall. You don't have to tell me. I'll change it, I promise. So, hey, I'm trying to shoot a video in here. Be quiet, dogs. Silly dogs.